couple of people came up to me kindly and introduced themselves to me and said, you know, I saw you before. So when you saw me before, this is a slide that I had before. All of this stuff that I've shown you up to this point, that was all created new. But there are a couple of pieces that I took from my old presentation because they have some really powerful information. And then what I did was I extended it for today. And one of the things I talked about before was we should enable the candidates to find 10% and 1% of any number, because I can't think of very many mathematical skills that are easier than that. And we go through, as a matter of fact, periodically at my building, people come to me and they say, Ken, will you help me with my math? And they're taking very elementary math courses. And I happen to be working with one gentleman now, and it was this concept of percent. And first, when I went through it, I went through the mathematical process, explained exactly what's going on, but then eventually I wanted him to be able to look and see what the patterns were. And once he could look and see what the patterns were, he could do everything. And that's what I want them to be able to do, to have just this general sense of how the pattern works. So, the first thing we want to do is find out where the decimal points are, and we know that if we can't see them, this is exactly what I said to this gentleman, we know that they're all the way to the right. And then when we find 10% of a number, all we do is move the decimal point one place to the left. And if we find 1% of a number, all we do is move the decimal point 2 places to the left. A very simple calculation. But I don't think it really becomes meaningful to them until they have seen the mathematics and they have seen the pattern. But once they've seen that pattern, they should be able to do it very easily. And now, if they can just do those two, they can go a long way with percents in life. And if they can go a long way with percent in life, then they can certainly go a long way with percent on the GED mathematics test. Because life presents much more difficult challenges than the mathematics test does. Let's just look at percents of 60. We can find 10%. All we do is move the decimal point one place to the left, 6.0 or just 6. Now that we know 10%, we know a whole lot. We know 20%. There are two easy ways of finding 20%. One is we could say it's just twice as much. We multiply by 2, and we've got 12. Another one is we could say it's 10% more. If it's more, we add another 10% to it. And now we know that 20% of 60 is 12. And my wife was telling me that when she goes out and leaves a tip, this is exactly what she does. She finds 10% and she doubles it. And that's the tip. That's a real life skill. But we can go further than that. We can find 30% because that's only 10% more. I'm adding on another 10% to what I already had. Now I've got 18. I can find 40%. I add on another 6. And I can find some general sense of what 35% is. Because I know that 35% is between 30 and 40, which I can easily determine without the calculator. And therefore, 35% has got to be in between there. And can you see also, you can have a general sense of the fact that 32% is also in between there, and the fact that 32% is closer to 30% than 40%, that your answer should be closer to 18 than 24, and a similar process for 38%. You can go a long, long way just by being able to find 10% and 1% of any number, and I can't think of any mathematical skill that's easier than that. So let's look at a couple of examples. Once more. The price of a printer was reduced from $80 to $70. Which value is the best estimate of the percentage of reduction in price? A comment, you would never see the alternatives written this way. They're always represented vertically. I just put them across here so that I'd have enough room on the screen to look at the rest of the information that I want. So, the price was reduced by $10. That's 80, the original, minus 70. The new sale price is $10. That's the reduction in terms of price, $10. Now let's look at the reduction in terms of percentages. 10% of 80. With the decimal point one place left, it's 8. But the reduction was $10. And that's more than $8. So the percent is more than 10. Just in terms of 10%, I know that these are the only viable options among the alternatives. 20%, we can find that real easily. 20% is 10% more. I add on another 10% or another $8, and I get $16. But the reduction, which once again was $10, is less than that. So the percentage is less than 20%. So now I only have these as viable options. And finally, I might say that $10 is closer to $8 than $16, so my answer is closer to 10% than 20%, and of those two, that should be, and in fact is, the choice. We did it all without any use of the calculator, only having a sense of how to find 1% or 10% and knowing that once we know 10%, we know a whole lot more. Second example, last year Carla's annual salary was $40,000. This year her salary increased by 2.5%. Which amount is the best estimate of Carla's salary this year? And I will tell you specifically that since the arithmetic is a little more cumbersome because of the more cumbersome percent here, this type of question will be found on part 1 where the calculator is available rather than part 2. But we can solve this because it is a multiple choice question just with the estimating skills I've already mentioned. First, I would say that her salary increased by 2.5%. That's a small number, so let's go with 1%. What is 1% of $40,000? We move the decimal point 2 places to the left, and it turns out to be $400. So, if she got a raise of $400, now she would be making $4,400. But she got a raise of more than 1%, so she's making more than $4,400. And those are the only options that are viable. Let's go to 10%. 10% of $40,000 is $4,000. Once again, decimal point 1 place to the left. The percent is less, so the increase is less. So she's earning less than $40,000 plus $4,000. She's earning less than $44,000. So now, these are the only 2 options that are viable. And in a similar fashion to what we did last time, we can see clearly that 2.5% is closer to 1% than 10%. So it's going to be closer to 40,400 than 44,000, and of those 2 options that we have there, the only one that is viable is in fact the exact answer to this question. Okay? So finally, we go to fractions. You know, if we think they get concerned when